Yo, what is good YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. Today we are going to be doing episode 2 of I Build Your Teams, basically where you submit your teams to me on Twitter and I tell you how I would build those teams to improve them for basically being more competitive in unlimited or competitive tournaments or any setting that you might be wanting to try to compete in and try to make your team better and try to improve it. So yeah, I think we got how many teams? Something like 9 teams today. A couple of them don't need a ton of changes, so we should be able to get through all of these. If you want to be in the next video, make sure you follow me on Twitter. It will be down. My Twitter link will be down in the description below. And I'm thinking I'm going to record this video probably every Saturday-ish. So if you would like to be in that video, make sure you keep a lookout on the Twitter for a tweet about this series, and I'll be tweeting it out probably Friday night or Saturday morning, and then recording the video Saturday pretty much every week. So if you want to get in the video, that's how you'll be able to do that. So let's hop right into it. He said this is his squad. He has 293 KMT. He runs Hawks 2018 freelance. He's on PS4. So Donald is good. Jeremy Lin, I don't love Jeremy Lin, but he's not bad. Then this bench is kind of hard to follow. I like his starting lineup. Page is fine. I like Terry Dishinger, Evan Fournier. That's fine as your 2 and your 3 off the bench. The first thing I'd probably do would be move Jeremy Lin to your backup point guard position, or you could even sell Jeremy Lin, pick up Bob Sura, one of the two, but he's too small to play the 2. So at the 2, I would probably prefer moving like Evan Fournier there, and then you can play Jack Marin and Terry Dishinger as your 2 and 3 off the bench, and either Bob Sura or Jeremy Lin as your backup point guard. And then I like Hakeem, I like Anton Jamison, and you would still have probably, if you got Sura, you'd have closer to like 350,000 MT for a backup power forward and a backup center. I don't love Sean Marion at this point. I just think his jumper kills the card, and Kevin Love I think isn't that great either. So I would definitely recommend spending that MT on your power forward and center position. And in that situation, where I'd probably look to go would be somewhere like Retro Giannis as a power forward, and you could move Anton Jamison as your backup power forward, something along those lines. And then at the center position, I would look to, at some point, maybe save a little bit of MT, pick up a card like Anthony Davis. His price has dropped a lot recently, and Anthony Davis is still one of the best centers in the game. Card is absolutely elite. I still play him as my backup center on my God squad. I absolutely love the card. I think you could play Giannis and Anthony Davis in your starting lineup, and then have Anton Jamison and Hakeem off the bench. And then your starting lineup has more size and is a better overall team, and then your bench would also have more size because Sura and Lin are very comparable, and Sura is cheaper. And then you would also have Fournier, Terry, Marin, and then those new 2 cards off your bench. So I think that would improve this team a lot. Yeah, moving on to the next team, we got this team says Timothy's fully evoed. He's got about 145k. He likes to play with his point guards and chooses Giannis and Kemp. He's on current engine. Cool. So I like this team, this starting lineup a lot. The starting lineup doesn't really need a lot of changes, especially with the amount of MT he has. The bench, I've seen this Allen Iverson's a lot better than the other Allen Iverson. That being said, I don't know how much I love Allen Iverson just because he's small, and he doesn't typically get great animations. So where I'd probably look to go with this squad immediately would be, I think Dino Raja stands out as a weak spot, and Allen Iverson stands out as a weak spot, probably. So, with that being said, the first thing I would recommend doing is grinding for Sidney Wicks. He can replace Dino. You can sell your Dino, make, I don't know how much Dino's going for, 10 or 20k. But then that upgrades that spot a lot. You get Sidney Wicks. You could potentially add range and a couple of badges to him as well for not that expensive. And I think that builds a nice hole in your team right there. And then it would probably leave you with over 100k still to pick up a point guard if you wanted to. If you wanted to go pick up a point guard, you could go after a guy like Bob Sura, Steve Nash, somebody along those lines. I love Bob Sura. Y'all hear me talk about him all the time. He's a really, really good card. But you could go in that direction. Also, if you wanted to upgrade your small forward position, you could go after a card like Lamar Odom, the new Desmond Mason that came out yesterday, a card like that to upgrade that position. So basically the first way that I would go would be to pick up Sidney Wicks to replace Dino, and then use that MT after selling Dino to upgrade your small forward position and your point guard position with cards like Bob Sura, Steve Nash, Lamar Odom, Desmond Mason, things like that. That's kind of where I would look to go with this team specifically. Moving on, we got my boy Alex Luka Goat. He says, And Luka is the GOAT. I love your name. But he says he has 300k, 30k to spend. He runs in 3 hunts. And I like this team a lot. He has a really, really good basis to this team. Luka and Kawhi are studs. Anton Jameson's really good, a really solid card. AD, y'all know how much I love AD. Moses Malone is fine. Terry's fine. Donald is fine. Cedric Maxwell is fine. So when I look at this team, the first things that I think jump off is, I guess, holes would be Dwayne Wade and Kevin McHale, just because Wade's a little bit small and McHale's kind of slow for that power forward position and shooting guard position. And with 330k MT, to upgrade this team, the way I'm immediately looking is grind for Sidney Wicks again, add range on him, a couple other shooting badges, put him as your backup power forward, won't cost you very much, and then pick up a card like, if you want to spend 330k, if you want to spend all your MT, I would go after a shooting guard like Vince. Vince that card's really good. I think he's kind of underrated and actually has flown under the radar a little bit. Just because of how many other great cards there were in yesterday's set. But I think if you picked up Vince and Sidney Wicks, that would actually definitely help upgrade your team. If you don't want to upgrade your shooting guard position, you could put Marin or Wade, leave them at shooting guard. You could pick up Magic Johnson as a backup point guard instead of Donald. I love Magic Johnson. I picked him up, and he's my point guard along with Luka on my God squad right now, and I just think he's an absolutely incredible card, even though he doesn't have like Hall of Fame range or Hall of Fame clamps. I still absolutely love the card. So that's probably the way that I would go with this team. Again, pick up Sidney Wicks, get a couple shooting badges on him, and then pick up either Magic Johnson, and you can play Marin or Wade as your shooting guard, or pick up a card like Vince Carter or even Paul George, and you can move Cedric Maxwell. You could even pick up, if you want to spend all your MT, and you have you maybe can get a little bit more MT because you might have to make a little bit MT. But if you're able to do it, this might be the best way to go. Move Terry Dishinger to your backup shooting guard and pick up Paul George to play small forward for you. And then you have an absolute god squad of a starting lineup. And then off the bench, you would have Ole, Terry Dishinger, Cedric Maxwell, Sidney Wicks, and Moses Malone. I think at that point, that team can pretty much compete with any team in the game on a competitive level. Next team, we got my boy Iced Out Money. He says everyone is evil on next gen. He plays defensive and up-tempo 3 hunting, 5 out, have 700k in 2 games from Dave. I don't know if Dave DeBuscher makes this team, to be honest with you. He says he has 700k, so I'm going to assume, since you said you have 700k, you want to spend it. I know you don't have a lot of auctionable cards on this team. And I think the first spot that kind of jumps out to me is a little bit of a hole. Is your backup center position, even though Mobom is solid. Your shooting guard position, and then maybe one of your power forwards like Sean Marion or AK, either one. I think whichever one of those two you prefer, you keep. The other one you sell or take out of the lineup. And then, sorry, I had to drink a little bit of water because my mouth is getting dry. First thing I'd probably look to do with 700k would be to pick up a card like again, probably like Vince Carter as your shooting guard. You could play Latrell Sprewell as your backup shooting guard, take Cam Reddish out of the lineup. And then if you wanted to pick up a small, like a power forward or shooting small forward at some point, if you want to spend more MT, you could go after a card like Paul George, who's super elite. If you don't want to spend quite as much MT, you're going to save, you could definitely go after a Lamar Odom. He's also an improvement over AK and Sean Marion, especially if you get one that's badged out. And then at the center position, I'd probably look to go after a Nikola Jokic, Anthony Davis. If you want to go more budget, you could go give like a Sean Kemp. He's definitely still better than Mo Bamba. That's kind of where I would look to upgrade with this team. And then point guard, I'd see maybe badge that Lonzo Ball. You can get one for less than 100k. You could probably make most, if not all, of those upgrades with 700k if you wanted to, especially if you wanted to go a little bit more budget. With the backup center, pick up like Sean Kemp, who's not expensive. Lamar Odom at small forward. You could go get like Lonzo Ball, or even if you want to go big, you could get like a Luka Doncic as your point guard. Just upgrades like that, I think would definitely help this team just be a little bit better. Moving on, we got my boy Jackson. He says he's got 1.3 million MT on next gen. He 5 outs and plays pick and roll and pop. It's kind of like how I play. I like, except not next gen, obviously, but he's got 1.3 million MT, so that means he's definitely got some MT to spend. And I like your starting lineup a lot. All 5 of these cards are absolute beasts. It's cards that I recommend to people a lot. Off the bench, I don't like it quite as much. I think Russ isn't very good. Same thing with AK, he's a little outdated at this point. Ayton as well is outdated. Dale Ellis is a shooter, and if you like him, you feel free to keep him. Same with John Marion. If you like him, you can play him with the 3 or the 4. I don't love this card. If we have 1.3 million MT though, immediately go get yourself a Luka Doncic. He's not. I mean, he's like 350k MT last I checked. He may be a little bit more now, but pick him up. That fills your point guard position. Will make your team a lot better. You'll notice a difference immediately. Next thing, go get yourself an Anthony Davis or even a Jokic, but I would say Anthony Davis as a center. Those 2 guys specifically will upgrade this team a lot, and that's probably where I would look to upgrade immediately with this team. After that, you'll still probably have 700 plus KMT if you want to continue upgrading this team. The next thing I would probably do is pick again which one of these 2 cards you like less and take them out of your team. If it's AK, sell him. And then pick up Paul George, move Lamar Odom to your backup 3 or 4, depending on where you want to play him and Sean Marion or AK. Again, Paul George, absolute monster. I'd play him at the starting 4 and then Lamar Odom at the backup 4, I guess, with Marion or AK at the 3, or vice versa. But I think those 3 upgrades, picking up Paul George, Luka, and Anthony Davis, would definitely make your team very, very good. This is my boy Josh. Check how much MT. He said he's current gen 1.1 million MT, playbooks Hawks 2018 or freelance. He likes to run to the rim and hide for 3s behind screens. 1.1 million MT is a lot of MT again to work with. I think if we're looking to make upgrades to this team, the immediate weak spots are Hakeem and Russell Westbrook. I would sell Hakeem. You'll probably sit closer to 1.2, 1.3 million MT at that point. I like your starting lineup a lot. The 2 upgrades that I make immediately are Anthony Davis again and either Luka or Magic again. Like, it's pretty simple. These upgrades aren't that complicated based on the cards that have come out recently. I think Luka's your first upgrade, Anthony Davis your second upgrade. Then your team's looking a lot better already. If you want to keep upgrading, you could replace Anton Jamison with like a retro Giannis, see if you can find him badged out with Hall of Fame corner specialist, rim protector, catch and shoot, something like that to make him a better shooter, a better defender. But upgrades like that will immediately make your team much more competitive. And honestly, there's only a couple changes that really need to be made because everything on this team is really good except for Russ and Hakeem, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's kind of what I think with that team. Next team, we got my boy Andy. He says current gen 200 KMT. He's a 3-and-D guy, uses the point play over Hawks 2018. He likes point freelance. Interesting. I think immediately, if you're running Ben Simmons in this lineup, and I know my boy Andy's solid at the game, so we're going to leave Simmons because he probably 5-outs and speed glitches with Simmons, and it works just fine for him. This bench is just, it's a little bit questionable to me. I feel like shooting-wise, LeBron, Giannis, Hakeem isn't the best on the bench, but it's not bad. So immediately where I'm thinking with 200k MT, I think you make 2 upgrades. You sell Hakeem and you pick up Nikola Jokic, maybe Dirk, somebody like that, and then spend a little bit of MT on Malik Sealy. You can still run your bench like this: LeBron, Giannis, Jokic, or Dirk, or whoever as your backup center. But then just make sure you have like a guy like Malik Sealy who you can plug in at the 3, move LeBron to the 4, play Giannis at the 4, just to give you a little bit more shooting in the event that somebody you're playing against is making you shoot with your bench and you're not able to shoot super effectively with them. So that's probably where I would look to upgrade on this team immediately. Make sure you have a little bit more shooting on the bench as another option in like your 11th, 12th, 13th, like Malik Sealy, and then pick up a new center for Hakeem, somebody like Jokic or Dirk. But I like this team a lot. He's got a really, really good team. Lot of talent on this team. All right, we got my boy Lucas next, second to last team. Says he has 125k, runs Hawks 2018, and plays on current gen. All right, I like your team and your starting lineup, except for DeMarcus. Like, I don't mind DeMarcus, but I think he'll be much better suited on your bench. So the fact you grinded for Brandon Roy immediately makes me know that you're willing to grind offline. So the first thing that you're going to do with this team is you're going to grind for Wes Unseld as well. Grinding for Wes Unseld will give you 3 cards: Wes Unseld, Sidney Wicks, and John Wall. So immediately, Kyrie is gone because we have John Wall and Lonzo as our point guards now, which is super, super elite. DeMarcus Cousins can be moved to the backup 5. You start Wes Unseld at the 5, and then put range extender on Sidney Wicks along with maybe a couple other shooting badges to replace Bobby Jones with Sidney Wicks. And immediately you're sitting on a much better team. And at that point, I think the only hole in the team is Buddy Hield. So you replace Buddy Hield with Malik Sealy, and I think that makes this team really solid automatically. But yeah, just grind for John Wall and Wes Unseld. You can replace Steven Adams with Unseld, start out Unseld, bench Cousins, and then replace Bobby Jones with Wicks and upgrade Wicks a little bit with a couple of badges. And then you put John Wall at point guard with Lonzo. Those are your 2 point guards. And then you replace Buddy Hield with Malik Sealy. And right there, you've made this team much, much better very quickly and very easily. Did I screw up? I think I screwed up. I guess that's the last team on the video. I must have put this Lucas's team twice. Definitely, I guess if I want to upgrade it. So that's going to be this video. I hope this video was helpful to anybody who's looking to upgrade their teams. If you want to be in the future videos, like I said earlier in the video, click the link and follow my Twitter down in the description. And then I will put up a tweet next weekend sometime for the video that I'll be releasing next Saturday for episode 3. And make sure you comment your team on that, your playstyle, how much MT, all that stuff. I will hopefully include your team in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. And I'll be back with another video very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.